All right, we are live.
Hi.
There's no Matt.
There's no Matt today.
We literally are the inmates running the asylum. That's why I got here, inmate 0001.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should have put mine at 0002.
What is your witty retort? Witty retort?
Witty retort.
Retort. That's a very fancy word. So Anthony and I were talking beforehand, and I don't know how to see the comments on this thing. Let me see. Oh, let's see. See, I don't know how to do that. There we go. I will make all sorts of technical issues. I don't know how to do nothing, but I'm here. We're good. And we decided we're going to answer any questions, no matter what Matt says. And if we don't know the answer, we're going to make stuff up until Anthony can Google it and get the right answer.
That's right. So we're going to actually have a community interaction today. We're going to talk if anybody has any topics they want us to bring up, just comment it, like it. And then if there's any questions you have, we do have our own topics, which I need to pull up.
Well, this would be the time too that nobody asks Jack. Nobody will ask anything.
Yeah, nobody's going to ask anything because we're going to cover everything so well today.
Yeah. And because we actually are willing to answer stuff. All right. Why don't we start with our first topic? What do you want to start with the first one?
I don't know. I'm going through this. Let's see. What's the first topic I have? So on our topics for discussion, we should probably review the rule changes that Hyrox made.
I think that might be the right first spot.
Okay. Yeah. Let's pull that one up.
All right.
So, what do you think about them? Some of them that I noticed as far as like the rule changes is they're not really rule changes. They're just clarifications of things that were already being enforced.
Yeah. And I think they had to do it because sometimes they were being enforced and sometimes they weren't. Like I think about the lunging all the way across the line.
Exactly.
Right. Like sometimes people were just stepping on the line. Now they made it clear to go all the way on the line. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Do you actually have a list with you of the ones they did or the one they changed?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find, but I'm scrolling back through their stuff right now and I don't see it. But here it is. So the rule book changes. It applies to singles and doubles. There is one big change, but we'll start with the lunging one since you had the lunging one first.
Yeah, and it had to be done.
Athlete's foot must completely cross all white lines, including turning points and finish lines. So what we've seen before is people will step on the line, finish their last lunge, and they would be called good. Or we've also seen where like your foot, like if they make the back knee cross the line. Now it's just very black and white. Your whole foot has to be completely on the other side of the line. And if it's not, if there's any overlap, you just got to do another one.
You know, the only thing I would like them to see and add to this, and this is almost just trying to make it kind of foolproof, is saying the lead foot must all the way across the line.
Lead foot.
You know, because some people could get into thinking, okay, well, I got to both feet lunge across the line. But it's a silly thing, but sometimes you got to do that little bit extra in the rules, just to make it foolproof. But I mean, can anyone complain about this?
No, I mean it's just a clarification of a rule that we already had assumptions with, and a rule that was mostly being enforced that way. And so this just cleans up the rule book again, like we said.
Well, I think and this kind of thing's more. It's almost for the people who are going to be judges to know now.
Yeah.
Like it's a public thing now. They know, right?
Exactly. Some of these, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is it's like almost just to put all the judges in line.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one?
Well, we'll go backwards because you started with the very last one, so we'll go backwards.
I'm
next one is the farmer carry. Kettlebells must be placed back in their position, handles up. So this is important because people would like put the kettlebells near the box or on the box or something, or like close to it, or like one of them would fall down. Now they say handles up, so you can't if your kettlebell falls down. So like, actually, this happened to an athlete of mine when Lauren Griffith went to Brisbane over the summer. She put her kettlebells down, and one of them fell over outside the box. It fell over, handle fell outside the box. She was like 5 meters away, and they were calling her back. So she had to run back, pick them up, and then was able to go. So like, and it was already something that was like kind of either already enforced or just like, well, yeah, that's how it should be. But this cleans up that, hey, you can't just like drop them from your hip inside the box and let them scatter, you know?
So here's my question though, and Decker run into this before. What happens, like you say, she's 5 meters away, they brought her back. What happens if they can't bring her back? Is there a listed penalty for this if, say, your kettlebell tips over or tips out of the zone, or you don't get it all the way in or something like that? I haven't scoured the rule book yet to see.
I haven't looked at a listed penalty, but I mean, I hope it's not. What if, like, if it falls over and it falls out of the zone and they're trying to call you back, they should be able to call you back. They called Lauren Griffith back from like 5 meters away, but say you're like 10 meters or further or something. Is it just, well, none of your running is going to count until you pick this up. So if you go around and come back, like, how is it going to be? But it should be. I mean, they should say, you know, hey, if you drop them and they fall over, then it's a 30-second penalty or something. But it shouldn't turn into a penalty. And I like, one of the things I really like about Hyrox is they don't have like a time penalty for little things like this. Like they usually try to correct you.
Yeah, but they do have time penalties for stuff like like a minute penalty for going in the out gate if they're side by side and stuff like that. Like, so they do have.
Well, and the question I had about that is at Worlds they said if you miss a lap or you do something wrong, like it's a DQ. Like things that people had never done before. So all of a sudden now it's a DQ. But I think that was just for the Elite 15.
Yeah.
I think the kettlebells falling over, like go back, pick them up, or it almost is like that safety thing. Cause like you saw it at DecaFit, like Bethany almost got her ankle taken out. Like just put them down, set them down easily. It's not that if you're in that big of a rush, then you're not going to pass that person anyway. So like take your, like, just put them down, keep going.
And I think part of it that would help on this is judge positioning.
Yeah.
So if the judge positions himself a little further away, like kind of in the line of running, so that they, you know, they can see once they get the kettlebells, they start to go away. The judge is there. They don't have to chase them because usually they got like two people slated to be at the farmer carry as judges. And you could have one right close to the kettlebells and one kind of off just like 3 meters away in the way of the run. That way, hey, you know, they missed it. You can stop them before they get away. That kind of deal. So anyway, it's a good rule. It's a safety rule.
It's a safety rule. I like it. And I do like the cleaning up of the rules too. Yes. Like I find that good. Okay. Then the one that everybody seemed to have commented on, the burpees, is that that was not a rule. Previously, it was just like your feet had to be behind where your hands were and you could take off. Like now they say parallel. And I don't see it as like, hey, you must do this now. It's more like, this is what we've been enforcing. Now we have it written into the rule book.
Yeah.
I don't see it. And maybe, you know, I was thinking about this too, is it maybe it turns into in like the first two majors, the first few races of the year after this is implemented, which is Cape Town, South Africa. Like maybe this turns out to be the way that the NFL does it. This is a point of emphasis for the first part of the season and they'll get on you. But then like towards the later part of the season, it's a little bit more cleaned up. They're a little bit more relaxed. Like how is it going to be implemented, you know, because we've already seen between last year and Vienna, DC, Nice, like it was already parallel. Like that was a point of emphasis. And then I think this is just adding that clarification to the rule book.
So here's the problem. The one problem I have with this wording, and I'm nitpicking again.
Parallel can be like this.
Yeah, parallel to what? What am I?
But it says no staggered takeoff. So I think they just meant in line. Like I agree, it should have been in line. A little bit better.
I would have went with and because they do have the lines, especially most they got the judge lines on them. Most it would have went like parallel to judge lines, parallel to the start line, parallel to the finish line. Nothing's
gonna be perfect, so I wish there was like what's the leniency? Are we gonna sit there and measure your toes, make sure they're even and jump, or like, you know, if you smack your feet together and your big toes further out than your other toe?
Well, but like, by saying what how's it worded? It's worded that your feet must be parallel.
It says parallel feet on takeoff and landing, no staggered takeoffs.
So I actually like that because it does give the judge a little wiggle room because it's their feet. So if your feet are just a little bit off, the judge can be like, okay, that's close. Well, like we're okay. There's no, you know, the judge can play it that way. And just like would have talked about before. If you're spot on, you're never going to have to worry about. But if you start to go out of the way, you're putting your future, you're putting your fate in someone else's hands. You're putting your fate in the judge's hands.
I actually think what this more targets, what it more like is into, is like if you ever watch some of the pro and open heats, you would find people like they would like take off, but it would be like one giant step and then it would smack. Like all the elites were still, even if their feet weren't exactly in line, like they were behind their hands, but their feet would be like, you know, mid-foot here, and they would jump. They're not jumping like step jumping. They would still jump 2 feet takeoff.
Yeah, and that's what they want. They want a 2 foot takeoff.
Yeah, and I think this like, I don't think it's targeted at any specific like elites or anything. I think it's more to clarify in the open and pro races that like, hey, don't have that leaping hop where you're like 1 foot out in front of the other and then the other one catches up.
And then it says, doesn't it say they want parallel landing?
Yeah, and it says on the landing too, and that's what makes me think 2 feet takeoff, 2 feet landing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even care about the landing.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't care about the landing because they're going to drop their feet back into the burpee. You come back up 2 feet parallel, you take off 2 foot jump. I wouldn't care about the landing.
I actually think like I don't personally, I don't understand the point of emphasis on this as much, because I think if we were trying to like, is it about the burpee or is it about how far you're jumping? What's the question here? Like, do they want to see you jump further or do they want to see you do more burpees? Because the burpees are going to be more like cardiac going through it. And then, but the jumping will like spike your heart rate, you know, if it was just a bunch of broad jumps. So what if like, and I mean, I don't think they ever will change it, but you know, have two parallel lines 4 feet apart and say, okay, just do 50 burpees back and forth instead of 80 meters.
Never do it because that requires more judges and more accounting.
Yeah.
That's the joy of this distance stuff. That's why so many, and that's one of the things I've always said Hyrox did right, is they have so many of these zones that are distance based that makes it so much easier for volunteer type stuff. So yeah, they'll never change that. The one question I would have liked to see them clean up in the wording of this is everybody gets caught on that. Your hands must come down 1 foot from your feet placement, or the wording's like that. But they say 1 foot, and everybody's like, "Is it my own foot? Is it 12 inches? What is it?"
So it used to be. So I've seen the rule book on this adapt a little bit. Originally, it was a forearm length.
Yeah,
and then it was 1 foot, and now like it's a kind of arbitrary. I don't have the rule book pulled up, but I should pull up the rule book. It's a little bit more arbitrary. I think it's like within your hand, like within a reasonable distance, hands must come down. Yeah. Like, and so, I mean, we all saw like, you know, the whole touch your toes, jump your hands out thing, but is it, how far out is acceptable?
Well, like I said, I think currently it's worded a foot,
but with those lines, yeah, the meter markers they have now on the distance, I think that actually helps because you can see just how far they actually are putting their hands out in front of their feet.
I suggested those lines.
And is it from the front of their toes or is it from their laces? Like how far, you know?
I would love for them to have put in there the back of your hand must be, or the front of your fingers, whatever you wanted to do, depending on the weather, must be no more than 30 centimeters from the tip of your toe.
Yeah. Well, and that's something we saw too, is that we had some judges saying, oh, your hands can't be further. Some were like, oh, the palm of your hand. Some were like the back of your palm. And so like, what's the actual distance?
Yeah. I mean, again, 30 centimeters, it's metric. For the American audience, 30 centimeters is 12 inches. I don't know what your guys' rulers are like in school and in the States, but here we always have 12 inches on one side, 30 centimeters on the other side. It's the same thing.
That's how it was when I was growing up, and now they have inches with fractions on one side and decimal inches on the other.
Decimal inches?
Yeah, so like
so you get into like almost like tool and die.
Maybe it's just an engineering thing. Like
we're like within 1 thou kind of thing. That kind of
thing. So it's like 1.5 inches or 1.7 inches, and it's like that's where the mark is.
All right, TTS Sports here. My thought was also it is hard to train. Here, well, I can even put that up there. Let's get my technology. There we go. Look, I did it. My thought was also it is hard to train / exercise to always land exact parallel in line. Yeah. And that's what I say. I don't think the landing should matter. I would hate to see somebody called back because they're jumping fine and their feet are landing staggered.
Yeah. I wouldn't be like happy with that. Like if you're doing the proper burpee, I think more importantly, your chest is getting to the ground. Like your feet are actually behind your hands. Like you're hitting the major points of all this. I think it's acceptable. Like, oh, your feet were a tenth of a second apart landing on the ground. Like,
who cares?
Yeah.
I don't see it as an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next key change, working backwards, is the sled pull. Athletes must not step on the solid white line at the end of the athlete's box.
Fantastic.
Again, already a rule that was being enforced, just cleaned up and put into the rule book.
But they were allowing like you to step on it, but not over it.
No, they were like somewhere, but it was supposed to be a penalty if you stepped on the back line, but you were allowed to step on the imaginary front line where it was like not all the way across.
Why does it not go all the way across?
Well, I mean, I can see that. Like if the rope, they'd probably just get people's feet over it or something, like, because most of the time in those same lanes is where you're pushing your sleds, you're doing burpees or something, like, especially for the pros or the elite, like they're doing it in the exact same spot. So they don't want to have a piece of tape across where they're doing other things at.
Yeah. So the wording now is you're not allowed to step at all on the back line or the front line.
You must not step on the solid white line at the end of the athlete's box. So at the back.
So we're still imaginary on the front.
Still imaginary on the front.
And you can still kind of cross that imaginary thing. So they're just, I would have liked to have seen them just say you can't step on the front one too and put a line across or something. But either way, I'd like it to be the same on both ends.
Well, they did. I mean, they said you can't cross the front line, but they were allowing you to step on it.
Yeah, but see that, okay, so like, and I'm not sure all rules or whatever, but it's like,
but your judge is not looking down the line to see.
Yeah, it's the same on both sides. Whereas this, it's different on one side compared to the other.
Yeah,
and I would have liked the consistency on that. I like that they cleaned up and said you cannot do this. That's great. I love clarification. I just wish they had put that on the front end too. But I mean, I listened to your podcast with Mintra, and I get the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, but she was like, we never intended people to be walking this at all. We thought it would be hand over hand.
Yep.
I would have loved for this to be a seated sled pull.
Right. I asked about that. Like, do you think you guys would change to a seated? And I don't think they're going to, but like that, I mean, that's one way to do it, right? To have it be a seated sled pull. Then it really, you can't walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said they did it, and even the first season, nobody was doing it. And it was in Miami, where like Imke and Lauren and I'm blanking on her name, Faye
Stanning.
Yeah, where they like the sled felt really heavy, and I think it's because they came to the carpets in America, and it felt heavier at that time of year, right? So it felt heavy. They were like, well, we're not going to be able to hand over hand this, so let's walk backwards. And the women started walking backwards.
Yeah, that's the same time Corinna Coffin got like that 9-minute sled push because she couldn't get any traction.
Oh yeah, her shoes fell off.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so I mean, improvement, but I think still more could have been done there.
Yeah. But I mean I like it.
It's improvement.
Cleaning up the rule book is never a bad thing.
No,
clarifying.
It's improved, and I like improvement. All right.
The next one was this one I didn't understand. Sled push and sled pull. Athletes must use a lane assigned to them by a judge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. Is that like so? Okay, so if you start thinking about Elite 15, it's usually first one in comes to the farthest lane.
Yeah.
I don't know throughout my experience that I was ever assigned.
Was it like such a big problem that people felt their lane was hard? They were switching lanes? Like, is that?
I think that maybe this is almost like a Spartan spear thing. where people have scouted faster lanes and they're all trying to pick that one lane when instead they just want to fill boom, 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 and as they go.
I mean, they're not
a strategy.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. When I talk to Venture too, they're not supposed to be able to touch the equipment beforehand. So, like, that's the question is,
no, but you could have had friends run earlier in the day and be like, "Oh, this lane is horrible. Oh, this lane is great. I had to really, maybe something like." I'm because I'm with you. I'm like, I didn't get it at first either. I'm like, what's this about?
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Do they have that issue where people are like trying to target lanes now?
Probably.
I don't understand this one, but I mean, maybe there's something coming up that they're gonna assign that it'll make sense.
Anyway, all I know is if I ever went into the sleds and the judge said go here, I just went there anyway. Like,
yeah,
I've never
exactly. I mean, everybody went there anyway. Now I know sometimes like you didn't hear the judge, or some people would like run in and just use the first lane available to them instead of running all the way down. Maybe they want to clean that up so that people aren't like running in and then looking for a lane. It's always just fill into the one furthest down.
That's actually a good point, because again, you're not going to especially for the masses, you don't have a judge for everybody there.
Yeah.
In order for that one judge or fewer judges to keep track, if everybody's closer together and they can bring everybody in instead of like 3 here and then like 4 way down at the other end.
Yeah.
That would definitely make things easier. So maybe that's where that's going.
And I just wanted to say, now that we have actually people watching instead of how we said at the beginning, guys, Matt's not here today. We're going to be answering any of your questions, any community questions. Put them in. All of them are fair game. So we'll remind you a couple times throughout this. Like Dave said, inmates running the asylum.
And we're not going to talk about staffing companies or what else? I don't know. Dunkin' Donuts.
There we go.
All right.
So the key changes. The next one is on the ski and row, where previously in the rule book it said you can only adjust the damper one time. Now it says damper settings can be adjusted as many times as needed, but only by the working teammate and the doubles working team. I'm fine with that. Like, I don't understand why it was only one time previously.
I never got that either. Here's something else about the damper and the ski, and this is for both Hyrox and DEKA. So Hyrox sets theirs to 7, right? Am I correct on that?
7 for the men, 6 for the women.
Okay. I am in favor, and I'm probably again on an island with this, because every now and again I have these ideas that go great. Now the ones that kind of fall a little flat, but I'd have them all at 0.
And they have to move it themselves?
Everybody's got to adjust it. It's fair. Right?
I can see that, especially like it kind of matches, putting the seat and the assault bike at 0 in DEKA. Like, everybody has to adjust it, makes it fair for everyone.
Except Bethany.
Except for Bethany.
It's not true, Bethany won't bike at 0 either. But yeah. I mean, that's just my thing. I would put them all to 0. Bang, bang, bang. And then it's also easier for the judges, because slapping it to 0 is way quicker than doing anything else with it. Than making sure it's on 7 or 6 or whatever, and trying to know if you're going to have men's or women's or whatever. Just slap them all to 0.
Well, and that would make it easier, exactly, for the judges. Like, somebody's done, they just push it all the way down. They don't have to sit there and be like, "Oh, where is it?"
Yeah, and do I have women coming next? Do I have women coming next? What's coming next?
Yeah,
just slap them all to 0. Same with the rower. But this rule, I mean, the allowing people to adjust it as much as they want, I love that, because often teammates don't use the same setting, and you're out there for 1,000 meters. That's a long haul. You might have, again, somebody like, like for argument's sake, somebody like Hunter teaming up with, again, someone like Bethany, and they're not going to have their skier on the same settings.
No.
Right?
No, they are not
on the same settings. So, I think it makes sense. I think it's a good move. I don't see anything wrong with it.
All right. And the last rule change, or the first one, the only one that is actually a change that I think
super relevant.
100 wall balls now for the open women and the doubles open women.
Okay, before we go into this, I'm going to tell you a story that happened at work today. On topic story. Dude came. I work at a petrochemical plant right now. Random dude come up to me and he says, "So is it 100 wall balls for everybody now?" And I'm just like, this just shows you Hyrox's reach has grown, that I'm getting random dudes on the site, and he knows I'm an ambassador and stuff like that for Hyrox, and just comes up and asks me a question about it. So your Hyrox realm is really growing. Anyway, yeah. So here's my question about this, and I have given crap about this in the past. Has there been any world qualifications for Open so far this year for Open women?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I didn't even think of that.
But you know what I'm getting at there, right?
Yeah.
Because this is technically, I know it seems like the beginning of the season because we haven't had any majors, but realistically, people have been in age group have been qualifying for Worlds since before Worlds.
I mean, there's been what, five APACs. If you count the ones before Worlds, it's New York. You got, I mean, there's been some races already where people will have a 2025 Worlds qualification. Did any of them qualify with the 75 wall balls?
Yeah, because they had said, Hyrox had said, we're going to be doing less of that, but not that we're not going to be doing any. And so that makes me curious, like, are we in a situation like, well, I don't know. That's more your thing. You're better at looking that shit up, but it was just a thought.
It would take me a minute to go find it. Like you'd have to talk for.
Yeah, it was just a thought in my head that I was just like, we've given grief to companies before, and including DECA, we gave grief last year when they changed the standards in, like, I think it was January or whatever the case may be. Now, sure, we're all okay with it. It's all great. We've gotten used to it. But, and the one thing with DECA too is people have more time to set different milestones and marks and stuff and like that. So it's actually good. But whereas some of these people with Hyrox, they're locked in. Like there's no bumping them out. Well, if you get a qualified age group, you're in.
Did they though? Have they qualified yet?
I don't know. This is something I just kind of thought of today. It was just like, wait a minute, like, because this is not a little minor difference. This is 25 wall balls.
Yeah,
it's a big thing, and that was another reason back when I didn't even know why they. And I mean, I don't think any of us know why were they ever taking people from Open and letting them qualify for Pro, and I still don't know why they're going to have some people do it. It's like,
it's at least probably for people in that age group, it's at least a minute difference.
Yeah, like it's massive. What's up, Shiz?
What's up?
Yeah, so I mean that's something where we're gonna look into. We're gonna look into that and see. I'm hoping that they knew this was coming and they haven't had any open quals, because then great, cool. They did it right. So hopefully they have not had any open qualifiers. And if they have, well, that ship sailed and it was a mistake, and we move on. Congrats for getting in an easy one.
I'm sure if it is, it's like maybe 2 to this point, so not a ton.
And you can make this argument too. You could say, well, yes, they only had 75 wall balls, but so did everybody else on that course trying to qualify.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can make that argument. I just say it's a different race. So
but I mean that brings up a good point, that the qualifying for Worlds is based off of who you face in your race.
Yeah,
like it's not the best times go to Worlds. So somebody that had 75 wall balls is a minute faster than these other people on a leaderboard like DECAFIT, where you're not one of those 15. But this one is, that race was going to have 1, maybe 2 spots anyway.
Yes.
Now it has still the same number of spots, but when you go to Worlds, you're going to be using a heavier wall ball and doing 100 now, which they would have done anyway because Worlds is no open. So like qualifying for Worlds, they would have been doing the same race. There's no change to what they do at Worlds.
No, but and again, to get in this like arguments about it, is you could say, and this is a reach, but let's say someone like a Meg Jacoby, she has a massive advantage the more wall balls there are. Right? The more wall balls there are, the bigger her advantage, because she is so quick and she's never going to break. There can be people in Open who are like that if there were more wall balls would have had an advantage. I mean, this is very theoretical and argumentative, but theoretically could have that advantage. Anyway.
Yeah, where they could have come up and actually passed them if they had 25 more wall balls to do it.
Exactly.
Because I can see that argument. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like if you had taken in DECA and taken the bike and said, oh, we're now reducing it to 15 calories. All of a sudden, someone like Kevin Gregory, his giant advantage is going to be decreased.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, hopefully they haven't taken any qualifiers yet, and we'll go from there. But it is what it is. That said, I'm glad they made the change. It just makes sense. Like everybody 100 across the board. I never understood why that was the one thing where they changed the rep number. Everything else was the same, but here we're going to make it 75 instead of 100. So I think it's a good move. I just kind of question the timing of that one.
I mean, it's still, like they said, like it's still their off season right now. I know APAC had a bunch of races and like their race time is now, but it was still like at HQ that's in Germany, their first race is next weekend, or the 28th. So it's like a week and a half, 2 weeks away. So they're like, this is our off season. Let's get these changes out now, type of thing.
Yeah, I know, but realistically, the off season should almost be between the last qualifying race for Worlds
and the first
qualifying for 2025. So Jabari, I don't know if you got this. For Dallas course, if it's the same venue, how many running laps is it? 3, 5? You're usually a better shot on the courses than me. I don't know. I can't see it 5. I'd say 3.
I think for Dallas, there's 2 locations it's been at. Either the like K something convention center, or that, what is it, the Anatoly Hotel or something, Anoli Hotel, that has a convention center. I think for the most part it's been 3 laps, like in on the third. So like but the out arch is after, so it's like 1, 2, and then you go in on the third, and it's mostly 3 laps. I think they did have 4 one year though, but I don't remember which venue that was at.
I would be down for 4 everywhere. 4 250-meter laps, standardized course.
You listen to my interview with Mincher, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for a template that they can apply to several convention centers.
Yeah, I know that, but here's the problem, and this is why they won't go to it, is because you're condensing, and this is where Deckers runs into the problem where they have to limit the amount of people, because then the course gets smaller, the track and I mean, with the amount of people doing high rocks, we're already congested enough. The course gets smaller, you fit less rock zone, so you've got less people to be able to run through. So you're limiting your income essentially. You're limiting the amount of people you can put through if you make the course for it. So even though going with a 4-lap 250 would fit you in more venues and allow you to make a better template, it's going to limit your attendance. So they will never go with that. I think they're trying to find one that is like a standard 2.5 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. So I mean,
we got a couple other comments here, but this one seems more on, because you can always make a smaller course in a larger venue. So yes, standard small, so even more room for other things in a larger area. But yeah, the rock zone is the
yeah, but I think exactly. But I think what they're trying to do is, like, I like the 3-lap courses. I think 3 is great. But if, like he said, the rock zone, well, if you have a standard template and all the stations on the same spot, if you're able, since the lap is always 3 or whatever it is, you should be able to always fit all the stations in the same spot. They should be the same size, and it should be the same distance from the in and out arch. So if you can get these templates, maybe 1, 2, or 3 templates, right, to set it up, then it'll be the same number of turns for everybody. Right now, they do have that standard distance, that 8,700 meters, but they, it's the number of turns. Like, I don't know if you saw some of the courses in Australia they had amusement park lines going into some of the stations, and people are going zigzagging back and forth.
And what was that last one I saw? Like just a giant horseshoe in the middle of the course there.
Oh yeah, so I don't know if you saw. I think it was Sydney. It looked like a big figure 8, and it had like pinch points on the inside.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a figure 8 course with a bridge. That'd be awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's go to this here. We'll go a little off topic, but like I say, we're running with what people are talking. All right, here it is.
So if anybody doesn't know, we're answering all the questions, all the comments today. Matt's not here. Inmates Run the Asylum. We're answering everything.
Even if it's about Matt. Okay. World Championship prediction location. So I'm going to expand on this. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Where do you think it will be, and where do you think it should be?
I think it I don't know how to answer this. So I was told they were going to announce it last week. I think they're probably going to announce it this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it should be in Los Angeles. I think it should be there. That's the next one.
Los Angeles. Okay, so I mean, I could easily throw out something stupid like Toronto, right? But I'm not gonna.
I would love for it to be in like Salt Lake City or Denver and make everybody do a high altitude one for the Worlds. Like perfect.
I think so. I was listening to RMR, Rich and Kent and Meg there, and Rich was putting out Miami.
I think Kent. Yeah, I think I listened to their episode. Kent and Miami. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm down with Florida. I like me a trip to Florida because again, Florida's very easy to get
to. Hot, like
you're inside. These guys have mastered.
You're inside in Paris too.
Yeah, but Florida's mastered the art of air conditioning.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
unless they decide to do the Miami Beach one again and just say, well, everybody's doing the same course.
Dylan and Tara got a huge advantage there with their experience in that. I'm gonna go with, honestly, I would love to. All right, I'm gonna go with Florida, but I would love to see it in Orlando because you're talking a cool destination spot. People like going there. It's easy to get to. It ticks all the boxes for me. I like it. Matt B. Davis. Yeah, that's the one question we're not answering Matt's questions. Nuts to that.
I would. Well, the answer to his question is the Detroit Red Wings. So, what I actually would like to see it though is someplace. I like the idea of Worlds being in a place that's never been done before, and so, I think like this year it'd be really cool to see it go to Seattle, or like places they're trying to expand to. So like Rio de Janeiro, like places like that.
Rio, I mean, I'm just thinking like attendance wise.
Yeah, like, and that's a big part of it. But I think if they could expand to Seattle, I don't know. I like that area.
Yeah, I know what. See, this is the problem: is you've already had it in the UK. What, like 2 years ago?
You had it in Manchester, and then you had it in Nice.
But it is so big there, and it's hard to turn away. Like you're going to sell out in 30 seconds. You could put it as a 4-day event if you wanted, and everybody's going to flock to it.
Yeah,
so they could put it like in Ireland. Would be.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, easily accessible places I like. So like places where people can fly to cheap and easy, but would have a big say, like when they had it in Vegas. I thought that was a great spot.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's easy to get to from all around the world.
By the way, Angeles, I'm officially signed up for Vegas.
What's that?
I'm officially signed up for Vegas.
Oh, perfect. Me too. Yeah. I'm running a doubles with JK.
Okay, I'm doing doubles with my wife. We're
there you go. Yeah, right. Me too. No,
you're running with my wife?
My other wife. No. I hope he's listening and says something. No, yeah,
I like
it. Atlanta has an international airport that has a lot of stops for airlines. Like have it in Atlanta, have it in New York would be good. The Midwest US, those types of places.
Yeah, I like it. Sean Noble here. Well, first he likes my Ireland, but he also says Berlin. And I mean, Home of High Rocks. You could totally have it there. It'd be great.
Oh, I was thinking like, yeah, they absolutely. I think they're going to go back to Germany like every 3 years, or every third or fourth year. It'll go back to. It should go back to Germany.
Yeah, totally. I
gotta say, Leipzig was hard to get to. Okay, I had to fly to like Frankfurt, or I had to fly to Seattle, then Frankfurt, then take a 3-hour train to get to Leipzig. So
I've never been. How is Berlin?
Big airports. Berlin's probably a little easier. Big airports. Amsterdam's great place. It's a big airport hub. Easy to get to. All right. Yeah. What have we missed here? There's a lot of questions coming in.
We're okay. We're still good. Sean Noble, Europe is by far the biggest market. US would be too expensive for most. I think Sean's in Ireland because he was really on with my Ireland thing. He said, except we don't have a venue. There's got to be something.
Yeah. Sean's in Ireland. I mean, I think you heard it on Armor too, that people have been circulating. It is a US this year, as far as I've heard. So, I think RMR said that earlier today.
Yeah, but he said he didn't really have any staunch information, just that he, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
I was curious if it was going to be in like South America.
All right. So here we go. Martin Loftus here. Yep, we're answering. I live too far from any Hyrox event. Oh, well, I'll just show this. Here we go. Live too far from any Hyrox event, so making my own, have a 1K run around a dirt road, and then movements are on a double basketball court. These are my movements. All right, let's see what he's doing.
All right, how can we adjust?
100 meters sled pull, push drag, sled push. 30 clean and jerk, 100 meter weighted lunge, 100 meter Hustafel front carry, burpee over box.
Is that the like big cross thing that they hold up?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it's the cross or if it's like that diamond shape one. Because I think the Hustafel
thing.
Yeah, it's like a strongman implement, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but Hustafel carry, burpee, box jump, 200 meter kettlebell carry, 100 wall ball shots. Yeah, man, kill it.
Yeah, good job.
I love it. I mean, I do sims like this all the time. Sandbag diamond shape. Yeah. So yeah, that's the diamond shape Hustafel stone. Yeah, I love this. Actually, this is one of the things I like that Hyrox affiliates get to do, is they're not confined to any specific, you know, everything can just be a Hyrox inspired event.
Yeah.
You know, so they can get crazy with it. And I like that. I appreciate that. So that's good.
Run in station, have 8 to 10 of them. Like, depending on how long your run is, you can make it an hour long, half an hour long, hour and a half long. Like, you know, estimate how long it'll take you to actually be able to do it. And then try to make whatever you're implementing for this Hustafel carry and everything else, like, yeah, make it that long.
All right. I always say this one. This is one I like to put in mind, is the dumbbell ground to overhead, 2 meter walk, set it down, dumbbell ground to overhead, 2 meter walk, set it down, switch back and forth.
So you're doing a dumbbell snatch, taking 2 steps, dumbbell snatch, taking.
That way, and my reasoning for that is, if you were judging, full extension doesn't matter, because if you're taking 2 steps, you're going to want to be fully extended because it's way more tiring to hold that dumbbell halfway.
Makes sense. Does it just have to be above your head though, if you're like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, somebody asked about the doubles Elite 15, which is one of the topics we do have today.
So let's do it. Well, let's do it. This is Ryan Reed, by the way. Ryan Reed, awesome Canadian athlete. Good guy. Going to do a Deca relay with him someday.
Well, Ryan, when he asked about is it the current Elite 15? It's, well, even if all the current Elite 15 teamed up, it would be 7.5 teams. So there's 7.5 more team. There's 15 men and 15 more women that get to participate.
All right. So first question I'm going to ask you is, do you want it to be the Elite 15? Or
yes, I want to watch the best people compete, and I don't care if it's the Elite 15 or not, but I want to see the best people. If the Elite 15 can do it, I want to see them do it.
Do you think that's better for Hyrox or worse?
I think it's better. Now think about it. Like, if that doubles team is now moving up into this Elite 15 doubles, then the doubles age group that was there, somebody else is going to be a champion in that one. So it's just better for everybody. And there's more spots for them to open up.
All right. So I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I like the other way, where we get new faces and it becomes almost like a feeder to, these are some of the future faces you might see jump into the solo Elite 15. You know, so you're getting a different viewpoint. I'm talking purely from fanboy perspective. You know, not, and I'm like, because I like to think about who I'm seeing. I like to see different people, because if I'm watching 3 races for world championships, I'm watching a solo, I'm watching the relays, and I'm watching the doubles, and I'm seeing the same people over and over again. I'm gonna I want to see some fresh faces. I want to see something different.
It's different races. Think about how awesome it is. Like, you see everybody run individually, which is so cool, right? You see them go on their individual race. It's fantastic. Now they're going to doubles. Now you get like 2 people. Who doesn't want to see Hunter and Sandy versus JK and Ronkovic? Like, what? Like, who doesn't want to see?
Are you putting that out there as like a soft feeler for Ronco? Was that just like a
no? I don't. No, I'm not. I don't have anything like that. I don't know. We'll just no. I'm running with JK. I don't know what you're talking about. So
yeah, there you go.
No, but like, who doesn't want to see a big like heavyweight match? Who doesn't want to see, what is it, Kent and Rich versus Sandy and Hunter? Like, who? Those are going to be fun races, and then other people you still get like who's the feeder, who's the next up, because those other people are still going to be there. There's 7.5 other teams.
So here's the thing: I play devil's advocate. I play devil's advocate, but the reality is I actually agree with you. Is that I'm good with, especially because exactly as you pointed out, it's 15, which means even if every Elite 15, you still have room for other people to get in. But here's where I think Hyrox maybe doesn't want that. And they're in the way they've set this up. In order to qualify for this, you have to go to one of these specific races that are not any of the majors. Which means that if you're one of the Elite 15 members, like that is planning to hit all the majors, you have to add these extra races to your schedule.
Yep. And one of them's coming up, and this is actually something I like. One of them's coming up in December in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Melbourne, right? Melbourne is in Australia, and I like that they awarded the first one, and they still get 3 spots. It's not like they're making it 2 spots or 1 spot there. The APAC region between Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, we've seen it and saw before. There were 420 teams or something that participated, and like they're rewarding an area that has a big team presence with one of these. And with the first one, they get 3 spots. If you want to go there and take it, you got to make the trip.
What do you think about this as a qualifying system for it?
I like this as a qualifying system. I mean, I do wish it was actually at the majors, because unlike, like I did see those comments where people were like, well, the Elite 15 should be like, yeah, they should. They should absolutely be allowed to participate. Put it at the majors so it makes it easier for them to be there. But I understand them spreading it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the locations they chose are pretty good. Pretty good ones. You know, one in APAC, which is Australia. It's in Australia. 2 in the US between Houston and Miami, and then 2 in Europe, which were what were they? London and Paris.
Yeah. So here's why I like it, because this is the system I've been clamoring for the solo people forever. And it just is simple and clean and makes sense. There's no,
I mean, it's same. I really like it. I don't mind the majors thing. I think the majors, what if you put them at the end of the season? Like you could still have maybe not 4, maybe 2 majors, and people had to qualify through the majors to get to Worlds, and then still a last chance qualifier. Like you have 7 and 7, and then 1 from that, but you have to qualify for the majors. Say like there's 3 races and you have to be top 5 at one of those 3 races in order to get into a major. And those 3 races were earlier in the season. Like then you'd have like,
then again, you're making it even less and less likely for your Elite 15 to be involved then.
Why is that?
Because they have to go and do another qualifying race to qualify for the majors, and they got to do their solo race at the majors.
No, I'm saying like if the individual was that way, I like this for the doubles to be this way, because it's like anybody can sign up like you like for a doubles race.
Yeah.
And all you got to be is top 3.
All right. We have to show. Okay. Here's a couple of comments here. First from Brandon. Teams will be limited by distance, though. It'd be hard for Ronco and Hunter, as an example, to be training together over the distance. So it's still train apart, race together. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I find Hyrox doubles, I mean, obviously it is a team race, and yes, you have to work together as a team, but I think you can train apart and come together pretty well.
You can train apart for this. Like, hey, because number one, you both have to be able to run. And so you could just communicate, hey, we're both going to run this pace. And so when you practice, this is the pace you can rely on your partner to run. And then if you're both practicing the stations, like, that's fine. I want to see the best people do it. And the best people are the people training for individuals and then doing the doubles. They should do that. If there's like some double specialist, 2 of them out there that train together and can come and beat them, great. But I don't see that happening.
All right, here's something. We have to put this up because the important part is they say, agree with Dave.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they say after.
It doesn't matter any of the words after that.
Any of the words after that.
It doesn't matter that they agreed with the part before you said, but I actually think this. But
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, we'll read up TTS Sports. I agree with Dave here. Like, if always the same who stay forever as the rules kind of make it, we know with the Elite 15 right now, it is very difficult to break in. So if for doubles goes the same, nobody gets a chance to get in except the Elite 15. Yeah, to a certain extent, yes. But like Anthony pointed out, even if every Elite 15 member races doubles, which I don't believe they would, you're still going to have quite a few spots open to others. And I think, honestly, you'll be lucky, I'm guessing, to have like 3 teams from the Elite 15. Because I
think they're more interested. I mean, but yeah, maybe like
it's the extra races, different zones.
Yeah, but the travel to get to that extra race and actually do it, like maybe 4 or 5 teams that are composed of 2 Elite 15 members, and actually maybe there's a couple teams that have 1 Elite 15 member and somebody who's just not, maybe a top 30 or top 40, you know. But I'd say out of the Elite 15, probably 10 of them participate in the doubles.
All right, we'll show this one too. TTS again. Doubles again, no one can get money in this sport. Then overall, always same people for 12 months take the motivation also in a way to fight for it if you're not in it already. So essentially, I think they're just saying that, yeah, it's still very difficult. And I think that they mean they like the qualifying where everybody's getting a shot at the doubles, I think.
No, yeah, everybody does get a shot at the doubles the way it's set up. There's 5 races. Doesn't matter who signs up, go to one of those races and place top 3.
Yeah, and he's just, exactly. He's just saying like the regular should be that way too. Anyway, so you do only have men's and you do only have women's.
Yeah.
There is no co-ed. Do you have a theory as to why there's no co-ed? Because I do.
I think it's just to make it easier because assuming they do it like Elite 15 individuals on the first day, doubles on the second day, relay on the third day. You have an Elite 15 each day, and it's just 2 races, and then the final race.
All right. I have a theory for this, and you might, maybe if you can do some quick computer hacking for me. What is the record? What is Ronkovic's record for men's open?
Men's open?
Men's open. I'm going to guess, I think it's something like 50 something. 50 and change.
Yeah, I think when he did, I forgot that he did the open.
Yeah.
Ronkovic 50-38.
Okay, and then what is the co-ed doubles record?
It's Ronkovic again. I'm assuming it's pro doubles you're asking.
No. Well, yeah, we'll go with pro doubles, sure.
No,
I don't want to go pro doubles. I want to go open, or co-ed, because there's no pro co-ed. Co-ed is just co-ed.
Oh, co-ed is just co-ed. That's right. So it's Ronkovic and Alice Schur, 50-58. So Ronkovic went 20 seconds faster doing the open than he did with a partner.
Correct. So here's what I'm saying, that this system, and I've said this before, for the Hyrox doubles co-ed is systematically flawed. It literally becomes someone like Ronco or Hunter or JK
who gets the fastest girl.
Who can just get somebody who's a 10K runner to run 1,000 meter intervals with them.
Yeah,
and that's where I would like to see somehow. And I'll be honest, I have not come up with a way to do it, but I would like to see Hyrox somehow fix that. And that's one of the problems I have with it. The not slowest girl. Yes, whoever has the not slowest girl.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So this is something I think that Hyrox needs to address. And I think by doing this, this might be a sign that they realize this is an issue we need to look at. Yeah, I saw that fly too.
Yeah, just like buzzed right at me. No, I agree. I think that makes sense, that because otherwise it would just be, hey, Ronco can do a 50-38 solo, and if you strap a weight vest on him, he still does a 51, and not like a weight vest. I don't mean it like that, but it's like it would just be basically the same race as the open for these guys, because they'd be doing 95% of the work and running with someone.
Yeah, like you could take my buddy Lanny Marchand, former Olympic marathoner, Olympic 10K, and just say, okay, come on, Lanny, we just need you to do 8 1,000 meter intervals.
Yeah.
Right.
And there you go. Ronco would just do the race, and the time would be there. And so, but when you have the pro doubles, only men, only women.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, nobody's individually going faster than two people together.
Exactly. That's a true team. That's a true team thing. So that's where, I hope they can find a way to fix it. I mean, it was Tara and Dylan who originally kind of exploited this loophole in New York. I think it was the first time they did it, where Dylan did almost everything and Tara just ran.
Well, that's like what, Bubbles and Lauren Griffith's Decas, right?
Where, a little bit different though, a little bit different because they don't have to run together. Right. So it's when you, and I mean, you've done co-ed Deca team, right? It's a team event. You can't just have, one or the other. And even if you do just have a fast woman to do the runs, well, she becomes just as important, right? Like it's more, I find it set up more of a team, a true team effort.
Right.
So anyway, hopefully they fix that. But I am excited about the doubles. I love watching the doubles race.
Yeah. I'm excited. Like all of them, right?
Yeah. I'm excited. I love them. And the relay this year, like I'm jacked about the relay. It'll be awesome to see. I hope they do. I know this wasn't our list, so I hope they do the country thing again. Do you think they do it if they did, would you do it the same way and just kind of arbitrarily assign captains? Or would you make, this year, obviously, they're not going to make a qualifying process for it now, or they would have announced it already. So do you just...
I mean, they could have a singular qualifying process for it, but no, I mean, I like the idea of getting Hyrox athletes involved. So like, I mean, we go back to that. I wasn't, when we all talked about it with Matt, and Matt wanted like some rowing specialist to be the person doing the run in the row. I want it to be the Hyrox athletes. Like, so I almost think it should be not necessarily assigning captains, but assigning teams. And if there is a country that has two really viable teams, they should be allowed to do it. Because like, why couldn't, this last year, Vivian and Amy left before the relay started, and it was like they're like, Vivian was third in the world. How is she not on a relay team? Amy was seventh in the world. How is she not on a relay team? Like, so it was like the US could have made another team that was viable too. Like, let people have that opportunity. But I also think I do like the Olympic way, where it's like, you get one team, but the Olympics allows a B team in there.
So I enjoy the country thing. I think it was novel. It was fun. We get to wave their flags, and I love doing that. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
But I think that they should put it away, or maybe they have to do it for this year, but then the goal should be to put it away and have, like they're doing with the doubles, where you have teams qualify. And then, and then whoever, like you could have 7 teams from the States, then whatever, 5 teams from Germany. I don't care. Just then it's the teams are in.
I do like how they clarified you can only qualify with one person. So like if, for example, I am curious what's going to happen though, because it's bound to happen at some point. Say, just as an example, say JK and I go to one of these. We go to Melbourne. We get our spot in Melbourne, but then JK goes and does a different one with like Hunter or Ronkovic, and they're obviously going to beat our time, right? But he gets another spot. What would happen? Like, which one counts and which one doesn't? And does he get to declare which one does?
Yeah.
And what's going to happen in the case of an injury or somebody can't make it to Worlds? So
from my understanding, from what I heard, there were no substitutions, which I think anybody who knows me knows I would severely disagree with. I'm with you on the what do you do about multiple qualifications thing, because this is something obviously I'm helping look at with Deca, where they have so many multiple qualifiers for that. So it is a strange thing. I like that they're trying to limit it so that there's only one qualifier on the leaderboard for each person, but that's not easy to do.
No.
Right. And like you say, I assume in your case, JK would have to say, this is my qualifying spot. And then here's the interesting question. Let's just say the example you put out, JK and Hunter, they run a faster time than you and JK, right? And then JK goes, okay, well, I'm going to race with Hunter.
Reasonable assumption.
Hunter pulls out or gets hurt. Then can JK then put in you again? because you guys have a qualifying time,
or is that like I don't know. I feel like there just needs to be some rules passed through, and maybe they're making a rule book and we just don't know it yet.
Yeah,
and it'll come out for the first one, and this is all solved.
Yeah, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
I would like to see it. I'd like to see it. It does open some conundrums for them, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see doubles being given more attention. And I mean, who knows? Possibly, like, did they announce anything? Are they doing prize money for it?
They haven't announced any prize money yet, but
they would have to think they're going to be some.
Yeah,
like if
I would have to think what was it last year? It was like $20,000 for the first place team only in relay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
cut that in half.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could do a whole prize. We haven't seen what the prize money is going to be. I think, did we see possibly the prize purse for this year?
Yeah, I think so. And it was increased, but
it wasn't big. But last year that didn't include the 20,000 from the relay. So I'm like, well, is that going to be different? Are they working for a sponsor for it? So it's interesting. Definitely going to keep an eye on it. And I think anybody that thinks they have a shot should absolutely try to go do it.
Oh yeah.
Like here's your 5 races. You got Melbourne in Australia in December. You got Houston, Miami, London, or Paris. One of those races.
Yeah. I think it's great. I'm loving it. I'm all over it. I don't see a downside to this. I'm excited for it. I just there's the questions and they'll come up and we'll see if the rule comes out and we'll move on. All right. What's next? What do we got?
Well, just I think wrapping up High Rock stuff was this last weekend in Perth. There was another race.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw Joanna ran another time under 61. So she's run 2 sub-61 times.
So that now has upped her average because before her average.
So that made her, yep. So, but prior to this weekend, prior to this weekend, Lauren Griffith was in 6th, which was the first time position outside of the auto qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that made Joanna leapfrog her up to 6th. So Joanna's sitting at 6th with an average time of 60:49.
That's she's a player.
She's quick.
I mean, it's not a bold prediction, but I say she's going to Worlds. Like,
yeah, it's probably for her. It's probably a matter of where, not when.
Yeah, and I think she gets it in Hong Kong.
Reasonable for Hong Kong. Second major, most likely the top 6 are going to go there.
Top 3 will probably have already qualified.
Yeah.
So you're looking at after that. So that means you're looking at like a 6th place, and that's I think she gets it there. Quick jump back because we said we'll answer all the questions. What would you guys think about if there would be 2 different categories for World Championship? 1 open race weights, 1 normal pro race weights. I would think it would make complete freaking sense, and I have no idea why it doesn't go that way.
I am on the opposite side. I like what they do.
Oh, you're so wrong. Why are you so wrong? Where's that person that said they agree with Dave?
It's
it's this person.
It's this person. Look,
they're my favorite.
You go to the World Championships. There's one style of race, and you have to race it to call yourself a world champion.
Yeah, but they're different races. High Rocks always labels them not as a starter race and a pro race. They are,
but they have their regional championships for the open races.
Regional to make a world championship instead of allowing people to qualify for pro out of the open wave, which makes no sense at all. Allow people to qualify out of the open wave for an open championship, for world championship. It would be so logical. It would make perfect sense.
I understand that, but I do think
how can an engineer you understand that but not go with the logic? That makes no sense.
They shouldn't be able to qualify. I don't think they should be able to qualify out of open to go to pro at the world. Like you should have to run the pro race to qualify for Worlds.
Yeah.
And the open race should be exactly what it is, a mass participation like open race. But they should be able to go and have their regional championships where it's a different race. What is it? DC this year and the Asia Open Championships in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. Like those are the open championships. Those are great races, and they can still win their championship title. But the World Championships is that one singular race.
I think the biggest problem Hyrox has here was the names they gave the divisions.
Yeah.
Right? Because what they've done is they stress so much importance on the one and they didn't put it on the other. And I still think there should be an open, just like it would be like a scaled championship for CrossFit, something like that. Like I'm okay with that. I think it should be that way. And I think you draw even more people in, you draw even more runners in.
Yeah, but like no other sport is going to do that though. CrossFit doesn't have the scaled CrossFit games,
They should.
Because if they had that, the same people would win. They would drop down and do that race. Like,
yeah, but I would just make fun of them and call them sandbaggers.
What? Well, why can't they do it? If it was offering like prize money and stuff, and it was a similar race,
no, I still go and qualify for the open. I just think it should be if Hyrox says these are two different races. That's why we have records. That's why we have regular, regional championships. Then logic dictates you take that one further and you have world championships. You don't want to offer prize money for it. That's cool. I don't care. That's your prerogative. But open racers qualifying for an open championship because it is a different race makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Damn right, TTS. We're on the same page here. Like Kilgore winning the age championships this weekend in Seattle by minutes.
But like that's the thing.
Brennan, are you insinuating that's sandbagging?
Yeah, all the people like what you're asking for is the world championships of the open race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would the winner of that not be in the pro race? Is it because they just didn't make the Elite 15? And then in which case, why couldn't the Elite 15? Oh, look, another race that pays money. I'm going to go win that one too. I don't blame them for that. Go win. Like
I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. But like I said, the problem is Hyrox is kind of a little bit pregnant on the open division, right? Is it fully competitive and we have championships, or is it a feeder system for people to get to the point where they can go in the pro wave? They don't seem to know where they sit on it.
It's a mass participation, and I think like if you're intimidated by your first race, or like this is what you're more comfortable doing because it's the style of training you're doing, go for the open. And if you're looking like you're a stronger person and that's your advantage, then go for the pro in your first one because the running's the same in both. Like there's not an advantage there. So it's just it's something to strive for, something to train for. And what did Rachel or Cheryl say here?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll put this up. I'm not sure if she's talking to us or if she's talking to Brendan King about Kilgore winning the age championship. So she's asking, and Cheryl, you clarify for us if you could. So
I think she's talking to us.
Is she talking to us?
No, I think anybody can race whatever one they want. They should race whatever one they want.
Yeah. And I don't mind that. Like I said, I don't care if you want to okay. Here. I want to know the general consensus. Oh, from other people. Okay. Oh. So basically the question is, if you race pro, should you not be able to, or should you be able to race open?
Yes.
And yeah, I'm down with that. I don't mind.
I mean, I know people kind of fought back. I love that Ronkovic went and put an open time in and just like smashed it.
Yeah. So you had this thing about, is it always sandbagging? Okay. So you guys had this thing about, so now it was weird. I don't know if it was you, but somebody had a take where it was, now he's put the record out of reach. And now we don't have to worry.
That. Yeah.
That was Matt. I didn't really get on board with that take. That one, I don't really share that one.
It's a different race. The intensity in that race where there's not something that's going to, because for someone like Ronkovic running that open race, there is not a single implement there that is going to slow him down. Mm-hmm. So he has to maintain a higher consistent pace the entire time. It's different for him. The intensity's higher. Everything's like, for him, it's a completely different race. And he could show that by running 4 minutes faster than he ever has in his pro race, right? And he's only done the open once. I love that he ran the open one.
So you're saying it is a completely different race. Ergo would have its own world championship.
No, because like same thing I was saying, the same people would win it. Like I don't want him to split the prize money down between that because the same people could go win both of them. Like,
okay, so here's something that Cheryl says. Okay, first, this is Brendan. Brennan saying Grayson is a friend of mine, so I'm not sandbagging on him, but it was clear and obvious he was far above and beyond the age. It was funny. Yeah. Okay, so we got David, full lawyer there. Yeah. So Cheryl's question here: is it always sandbagging? So here's my take, Cheryl. Hyrox pro runners running open, I do not consider sandbagging.
Not if they're going just as hard into it.
No. But what I'm saying is, so for me, my version of sandbagging, and this is, was more, I don't even think sandbagging can really happen in Hyrox because there's just two races. You can't say, I'm going to run pro or I'm going to run age group. You're either running the open race, which is different ways from the pro rate race. So no, I don't really think they're sandbagging. I know some of the elites have their view on, I'm not going to run open because of this. Like, I think Meg just said it on RMR this weekend. She's like, I don't run open. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. And that's cool. But I don't have a problem with Ronco Go running open. I wouldn't be bragging about records for the open thing, but whatever. But I know I don't have an issue. It's an open race. It's for them to run. That's fine. The thing with Grayson, that's from Spartan, where you can pick whether you're age group or elite. And that's where I see sandbagging happen, where people who say, I'm maybe top 15 elite, so I'm not going to get on the podium, even though that really should be more status to run elite and finish 10 in the top 10 than winning an age group. So that's kind of my thing. I'm like, if you can run elite rather than go age group. But part of that emphasis is on Spartan because they don't make it important enough to be.
There's a difference there too. Spartan is running the exact same course.
Yeah.
Like, so whether you're running age group or elite.
Yeah.
Hyrox is not. You're running an open. But like, here's a question. So they've done this in the past. If the sleds they feel are too easy, for example, in Hong Kong 2 years ago, they were like, oh, these sleds are too easy. We added 40 kilos to the sled for the elite men.
Mm-hmm.
Is it sandbagging if they hadn't added that and they get these really fast times? Like,
yeah, again, that's out of the athlete's control.
Yeah.
Right. So no, it would not be sandbagging. Sandbagging to me is just racing at a level that is beneath you to grab a podium.
Well, and the other question then, in Vegas, they took weight off the sleds.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that was just playing favorites.
Yeah.
But again,
the Europeans could push it, right? So
the athletes aren't doing nothing there. That's Hyrox doing stuff. So that's not on the athletes at all.
All right.
So yeah, for me, that was always my gripe. And that was something that I didn't like about, and I know we're not ORM here, we're HFM, but I didn't like about Spartan system where they allowed us to choose elite or age group, because I thought you had people who were obviously elite running age group because they're like, well, I'm not going to get my podium there, so I might as well drop back and get one here. And I thought that mistake was on Spartan for not making it more of a big deal just to be in the elite, especially when it was a gated heat. So for example, it was a gated heat. They should have made it, if you're in elite, Killian, we'll mention that. If it was a gated heat, you should have maybe some different swag for everyone who ran elite, because they've qualified for something that the age group people couldn't make.
Right.
It would just be a different medal, a different t-shirt, elite, whatever. Anyway. Cheryl Crow, here it is. This was the big one. Killian. You know what that reference is to?
Didn't he didn't podium or something in the elite, so he went back and ran age group later that day or the next day or something?
That day, and won age group and got on the podium and stuff. That, to me, that's sandbag.
Why? He ran both races.
Yeah, but he dropped to age group when he doesn't need to be in age group.
He ran twice in the day.
So what? He still dropped to age group. It's beneath him. I'm saying he's too good for that. Like,
I don't know. There was an OCR race I saw that paid out to 10 places, but if you won your age group, it was like equivalent to like 6th or 7th in the elite. So why wouldn't you, if you're like, ooh, I might be 7th to 10th in the elite, why wouldn't I just go run my age group?
Because 7th to 10th in the elite should be way more prestigious.
The payout was higher in age for winning.
There should be no payouts for age group. If in that scenario, like, I don't think there should be any payouts for age group. If you have a system where it is like Hyrox, where top 3 win and everybody else is an age group, then I'm okay with it. But if you can pick one or the other, I don't like seeing payouts for age group. I think, again, that encourages sandbagging. So Brennan King here saying that there was no elite Sunday sprint, so he ran age group, but there was not an elite sprint. And I'm cool with that, but I still think a guy of Killian's caliber dropping back to age group for that run, it just, and here's the thing, if he did go back because there was no elite thing, then he said, but I don't care about the podium, this is the thing, then run without a chip if you're just doing it for a workout or whatever, which was kind of what was said, or if I remember correctly. My opinion, I just think that if you are an elite racer, especially if you've run elite that weekend, to drop back to age group and take an age group podium, it's cringy.
I don't know.
You broke no rules.
If I'm in that age group and I'm 4th or 5th or something, why isn't it like a half marathon or a running race where, you know what, you are placed 1, 2, or 3 overall. If you're one of those, you're taken out of the age group. Otherwise, you're an age group.
I totally love that. That's perfect. And then you can even put prize money for age group. I love that. And that's what Spartan did last year. That's what Hyrox does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great. That's great. But when you get to pick and choose, that's where it gets troubling. I mean, OCRWC had this trouble for a long time too, but it's just a pet peeve. Just a pet peeve. Not breaking any rules. You're not breaking any rules. It's just not a way that I like to see it. All right. What do we got?
Do we have any other questions, or are we all done with Hyrox?
I think we're caught up.
Oh, I think we talked about Perth shortly with Joanna. The other part there is Jess Petro put up a good time. She ran a 104.25, which put her at a 104.28 average. So she's a 19th overall. Moved her up. So she's in striking distance.
She's in good line for roll downs.
Yes, she's in line for roll downs.
And if you were her and you got the roll down, would you head to Hong Kong?
If I was her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure. It's still a 9-hour flight for them. Maybe the same time zone, but it's like it would be like me traveling to Peru.
Yeah. But it's a good shot.
Yeah. So, and also from Perth, Tom Rogers ran a 58.37. So he sits at 58.28, which puts him in 23rd overall for the men. That's
not bad. That's still like you say, that's possible.
It snuck him one place ahead of Rich.
So Rich does not like that guy anymore.
So yeah, he went from, I think his average was somewhere in the mid 30s, and now he's in 23rd, just ahead of Colin Stiefer and Rich Ryan. So
it's getting fast. It's getting so fast.
Yeah, 58.28 is 23rd. And now the men's side, the 15th place man is 57.53, so it's officially in the 57s. But I think that's all I was going to say about Perth. And then do we have anything else about Hyrox, or do you want to go on to DECA?
Yeah, we can move on. We can always jump back if someone else wants to.
All right. And we're answering any questions, guys. Like we said before, inmates are running the asylum, no Matt. So any questions you have, we will answer. And we'll pull them all up. We're reading all the comments. It's our little rebellious thing.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this after the fact, you missed out a great opportunity on the live show.
Especially because like Anthony has like intelligent things. I might not know anything, but you have like engineer knowledge.
Sometimes. All right. So if anybody doesn't know, the cutoff weekend for DECA Fit was this past weekend, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that hasn't qualified, or the leaderboard's all updated, and basically from here out, this is who's going to be able to qualify for Worlds. Do you know, did we see any big jumps over the weekend?
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, the first obvious one would be, and maybe my our department might look up the name, but the men's relay record got beat this weekend. And
which one? Strong.
Men's strong record.
Strong teams, men.
Yeah. Just a second. You can look on Kevin's thing.
Shows me Kevin Gregory and Mike Racine.
Yeah, so that got beat.
Oh.
Allegedly. Oh, okay. So here's where we'll talk about it. So like Brendan King, he says allegedly. Here's the thing: the two guys who beat it, and I'm gapping on the names right now. Riley's going to look that up for me. Okay. Just one sec.
Is it on Hybrid Fitness Media? Should we tell everybody to go to?
Yeah, it might be on Hybrid Fitness Media. That would make sense.
Everybody go to Matt's page and look at the post.
Feed me the names. Anyway, so these guys, I mean, they have pedigree. You know, like they're not people we haven't heard of, despite my blanking on names right now. They're not people we haven't heard of. They have pedigree, and they broke the record. Where Brendan King says allegedly, and I'm going to assume this, I'm making you speak for you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan. But we haven't seen a full video of the entire run. And I'm told there is one, which is great. We'd all love to see it. The problem becomes, and this has gone on for a while, how we feel about these records being broken at different local gym events. And can, be counted on and things like that. So it comes down. And I mean, I'm not sure. I think I know your take, but you might want to reiterate how you feel about stuff like this, like these records being broken at these places. And should they be at all, or should there be some kind of stipulation?
I mean, honestly, if they're saying they broke the record, and I don't know, because I don't know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But if they broke the record, 8:36, right, is what Kevin Gregory and Mike Racine ran. Well, pretty sure Kevin and Mike are going to be in Ocala. And if these guys are saying they broke the record, then they probably should be in the top 15 no matter what.
Yeah.
So more likely than not, you'll see what happens in Florida if these guys go. Who are you? Because Matt doesn't have a post on it, but I think maybe it was a story.
Yeah, I think it was a story. Yeah, for men. You're right. It'll all come out in the wash. And I mean, these guys, obviously, they were going to go to Worlds regardless. They're fit. They're beasts.
Okay.
It'll all come out in the wash. But this is the problem with the records. And then, like I said, especially with DEKA, with the strong and the mile, there's such variances in course setups. What would you think?
Is it Caleb Yates?
Yes, Caleb Yates. Yes, that's one.
I don't know who the guy with him is.
No, I'll be honest, I don't know him either. But again, Caleb's got pedigree, right?
Yeah.
Caleb's a known commodity. We know he's an absolute beast, especially on the machines. He can really fly. I know he's a demon on the ski erg. So it's not like this is not believable. But I personally would love to see DEKA implement a video needed to claim a world record. And that should be, if called upon, should be scrutinized.
Okay. But what do they give for a world record besides just, I have the world record? Do they give anything out? It's just pats on the back.
Well, pat on the back.
Like, I'd understand if they were trying to like, oh, here's your flag for breaking the world record, like something special, or you get a bonus, like, yes, verify, wheel it out, have a standard template or something. But otherwise it's just, hey, this is it's like CrossFit. This is a workout I did in my gym. I did Fran in 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and this guy did it in 1:58. But like, look at his setup versus my setup. What?
Doesn't that piss you off?
I mean, it's just the different ways gyms are set up, and you won't actually know that until it goes head to head. But I tell you what, if there was a guy that did a 2-minute Fran in his gym and another guy that did a 1:57 in his gym, invite them both to do it together, and they'll be able to do it like on the same equipment.
Yeah. Okay. So Lalo Contreras seems to be the other guy's name.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, another beast.
That's what we're going to get. They got their invitation to Worlds now with this. It says 8:27, which is 9 seconds faster than Kevin Gregory and Mike. Like, that's flying.
Oh, boys are cooking. They were cooking. Cheryl says it here. This is an interesting take, Cheryl. I think as time has gone, we're all realizing that these gym times are more like guidelines.
And
it's like the pirate code. It's more sort of guidelines.
What would irritate me more is if like the Deca mile teams or the Deca, like with all the turns that you could have. I saw you ran, what was it, Deca mile this weekend? Like all the turns you could have versus an out and back versus a
My
nice
shoulders all scraped up.
Like it really goes to show they can be completely different. And I'd be more upset if I was like in, I don't know, 14th or 15th place and somebody comes in and beats me by 1 second and I get knocked out and don't get to go to Worlds. Like that would make me like, what the hell?
So yeah, I'm 100% with you here. And this is another thing that I've said before. I think, and I'll put this out there. If you're running a deck in a gym event, have somebody video your whole race. Have somebody video the whole thing to shut people like me up, right? Number one thing, just to shut me up, to shut anybody who doubts you up. Because I believe DECA should have the policy of if you're going to Worlds and when DECA asks for it, you should be able to submit a video of your race, just like a CrossFit Open kind of thing, right? So if you qualify for Worlds, not everybody will get called on, but I can randomly, if I see something suspect or if I just randomly pick someone, ask for their video, and you should have to have it to have that qual. I don't think everybody's got a phone. Everybody's getting their Instagram shots. Just record the whole bloody thing and go from it. I don't think it's too much to ask. I would love to see it implemented as a policy. I will continue to push for it from my end until I run out of breath. Captain Barbosa. We'll read another one here. Okay, guidelines. Cheryl, what's this one? I think this almost is just like what you said. This is from Cheryl. The women ahead of me on the leaderboard are going to have to prove it to me that their gym setup wasn't somehow ideal at Worlds.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's a little bit tough with only taking 15 because, then it comes into integrity. Like, well, I'm at my gym that I go to and pay a membership to, and I run this time that puts me right on the cusp, and my gym favors me, and maybe they aren't cutting the time, but they're more lenient. Like,
yeah.
So I really think it's those people that are, 11th to 20th. It's like, those are the videos I want to see to verify your way to Worlds. The people that are getting, 8 minutes, 30 seconds in a strong teams or 14 minutes in they're going, like, it doesn't matter what setup you have. You could, even if it's most ideal, if they go to a bad setup, they're going to lose 15, 30 seconds. Like,
which might cost them a world record, but still puts them in the fight.
It takes them to Worlds. Like,
deservedly so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't fake it that much.
Yeah.
You can get a little bit, but you can't fake it that much. I think you're spot on. And I think maybe Cheryl's not on this too, it's actually the 14th, 15th place where it really matters.
Yeah. Because that's an invite or a roll down, you know?
And that's where, to me, I think that policy of making sure everybody has a video, if requested, helps stop that. And another thing I've suggested before was that gyms, for example, like I help run the Farm Girl Strongs. Fastest clean setup in Southern Ontario for your strong, just saying.
And that's another thing. What you just said right there too.
That's right.
Gyms are gonna say, we have the fastest setup. Come to our event. They're gonna try to set it up for the fastest available.
And here's what I think they should have to do if you make a claim like that. Not even if you make a claim like that, but every gym should have to do this, is when we host an event, I should have to video the course, show the weights, show the machines, and show the distances so that it is a verified course. And that way, if something happens from there, right? And if you get your time there, you can say, no, of course it was a good course because the gym submitted it to DECA as a verified course.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I don't like is that there are other machines that are acceptable for DECA and other tanks. And it's like, okay, that's,
Well, and for example, the guys who broke the record, they had the Zebex tank. which, you know, you can argue whatever, easier, not easier. Again, it's going to be fractional seconds. It's not going to be minutes. But different stuff. Yeah. Okay. So hold on. We got to catch up a little bit here. First off, we got to put this because TT Sports again. I agree with Dave. By the way, TT Sports, send me a private message on Instagram. I want your address. I'm going to send you an OFX patch. Like, you deserve MVP today. Setups in local gyms seem to be different, so different compared to trifecta we set up. All zones are closer together in local gyms. Absolutely. The gym courses are nothing like. No. Yeah. So it's definitely the gym setups make a huge difference. Riley's just looking at some of the video from the thing, and they actually had a bad setup for transitions. It was very far apart to get from zone to zone. So yeah, that makes it even more impressive if they're for their score. Cheryl Snow. Yep, it's tough for those on lower spots. When they had 20, it was a little better. Well, I mean, you know what, Cheryl? Yeah, it's a little better, but still it's the 19th that, you know, the 20th and 21st person get the same thing.
The last 5, I feel like, are always going to have that problem.
Yeah. All right. It just bumps it down. That's why when I've heard people say with High Rocks, well, if we make it the top 30, then it takes away the problem. No, it doesn't. It just bumps it.
No, it doesn't. It just bumps it further down. And look, like, that's why it's like, well, how many do you want to get right? So if you're saying 15, I'd say, okay, you're going to get 5 to 7 to 8 right.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing 30, you might get 15 right, 20 right, but you're not going to get the 30 because there's probably anybody in that 11 to 30 zone could be anywhere in those other spaces. And one of them could have a really good day. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but they might be able to jump up into the top 10. So
yeah, and effectively get in and cost somebody else. Yeah. So Heather White. There's different equipment also. In my opinion, the ZVEX tanks are much faster than the Torque tanks. That's been my experience as well. I've only used the ZVEX tank, I think just at Worlds has been the only time I've used it. Oh, no, sorry. Well, I did play with it in Ocala, but I didn't actually race there. So I do find them to be a little easier. I think, remember last year, though, Heather, like last year they had the women's set to a 6 on the settings, and this year it's a 7. So that would make the women's, at least, like the women's last year at Worlds did seem to be flying. And Heather makes a tank look like it's flying all the time. But there it looked like there wasn't even any resistance for her. She was just going for a walk. So yeah, the equipment makes a big difference. But when you're looking at it from DECA's perspective, it's so hard to mandate everybody has these exact sets of equipment because, let's be honest, it's expensive. Yeah, Heather just said she did her strong last weekend on a 7. Yeah. So that's the standard for this year is the 7 instead of the 6. And by the way, Heather also set a PR, and I think, I mean, not all the times are in, but I'm thinking she's solid in for the elite strong for women, as she should be.
Are they, just a question? You know more about DECA. Is DECA, because I'm sure that just because there's the cutoff for Worlds that's in December, 3 months from now, has happened. There's still going to be DECA Miles, DECA Strong events between now and Worlds.
Yep.
So are they going to qualify you for Worlds 2025?
Yep, they do. To be honest, right now, my time, and I'm not planning to run age group strong this year, but my time for age group strong, I actually did a week after the end of qualifying last year. And I haven't actually done a solo strong other than Rux since then.
And you're still in for the DECA Strong, so you're qualified for this year from
age group. From
that.
Yeah. And it wasn't. It was not my best time either. I screwed up the bike. I had the bike seat at the wrong height, and I actually had to get off the seat for the entire bike. So it wasn't my great time, but it still sits there. So yeah. So anything that happens past this weekend is a qualifier for 2025 Worlds.
All right.
So that part, it's logical, right? I mean, it makes sense. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So, what did, Brennan and Heather or Brendan King saying, yeah, they'll be for next season. Cheryl, the move is to, okay, let's see here. Let's read that. The move is to train for DECA Worlds and find a strong and mile to qualify for next year during the training. That's because if you're fit now and ready to go, it's a good, and that's what, that's the way to do it. Me and my friend as well, for age group, we still have, that was 2 weeks after, we have a mile time that is still sitting in the qualify for age. But I'm not using that one either.
All right. I just looked it up since we're still on DECA. Lauren and our team is still sitting in, I guess we're 5th because Katie Duke and Grayson Kilgore are on there twice.
Yeah.
But that was a stacked race then in SoCal, because
that was like a world's race.
4 of the top 5 teams were in that race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a stacked race. Amazing. So what are you gonna do? You guys going, or what's going on? Is Lauren gonna carry you to a world's podium?
Love it. No, I don't know. We don't know about that weekend yet because there's a CrossFit event she might try to do. But so we're still looking at it that it conflicts with, but maybe. We
got a solid maybe. Yeah, but what you talk about there brings up the dilemma that, and I think you'll face it more, or you'll see it more glaringly if, for example, you go to the co-ed strong relay to see a problem. And this is interesting because I'm out there I would like to hear suggestions on what you do with this.
Co-ed DECA strong teams.
Yeah.
Okay. See Kevin Gregory in 10 of the 15 spots.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think if you take the top 15 teams, you can only build 5 teams. If I'm not mistaken, something along that lines. So how do you address that situation so that when you send out emails to the top 15 teams, because Kevin can only run one race. There's not just him. There's other people, multiple.
Well, he has to declare who his partner is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. But should you or should DECA say, we want you to declare before we send out these emails, so we don't waste our time?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I think you should be done too. I don't know if they're putting that into effect.
But honestly, what I would do is I'd clean up the leaderboard here, and I'd probably take away everything but his best time. So it's Amber, Tate, and him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd take it all away, get the leaderboard clean, just because you have Grayson Kilgore and Katie Duke in there twice, it looks like, again, and other people. So anybody that has doubles, they only go with their best time. Those are and then it's like whatever 15 teams you make through that, they go through. If he denies one of their, say with Amber Tate, he's not going to race, and then it goes to his next best time with Katie Brown.
So I think that right now we're in a situation where the leaderboard is what it is. And I think DECA needs to reach out to the repeat people in the top 15.
Yeah.
Say, declare now before we send out emails who you're racing with. You're only getting one email. And then we can send the emails to the next people who truly should be in the top 15.
Absolutely.
Because theoretically, if only 5 teams can be made out of those top 15, that means that emails should go to 16
to 25,
26 or 25, right? Should get their emails, and provided the repeats there, so on and so forth. So that's what I would like to see happen. I don't know that it will, but it does set DECA with an interesting problem. And again, this could be a problem that Hyrox runs into with its doubles stuff as well, having to deal with a similar scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, they did say you can only do one, so maybe they say, oh, you already qualified with this person, so even though you qualified at this next event, doesn't matter that it was faster, like you don't get to declare somebody else. Yeah.
So anyway, it's hope it's something that's there, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's, I think, everything we were going to go through, but I had a question because I don't know who's on next week. Coming up, we have Stuttgart, and then Amsterdam for High Rocks.
Okay.
Do you think everybody's going to go? Because they haven't declared yet. Do you think everybody's going to go? And who do you think is going to take them?
I don't think everybody's going to go, but I think it is going to be a massive turnout. I mean, you would probably have a better line, at least someone, than I would. I think you're going to have a large. I think pretty much all your Europeans are going to be there, right? Like your top. How many qualifiers, auto quals do you got there? Was it 5?
3.
3?
Oh, auto qualifiers, 5 on the women, 7 on the men.
Okay. I think your auto qualifiers are probably going, minus Kent, because I think he has said he's not going.
Well, Hunter said he's going to be there, but not race.
Okay.
So I don't think Hunter's going. I don't think Kent's going, and I don't think Paleo's going.
Okay. So you still got Ronco, you got JK.
Yeah, you look at like Ronco, Sandy, Dylan, JK, and then I don't know about the people that are time qualified. We know that Rylan has said he's going.
So in that case, for me, I mean, my first guess would be Ronco, JK, and Dylan. Sorry, Sandy. I don't know what Sandy we get.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm one of the most amazing athletes out there, but I just don't know which one of them we're getting. And yeah, we'll go with that.
That's an awesome guess.
And then with the women, I'm not knowing, but I do know Meg is going, so to not have her on the podium would be insane. So I would probably go with Meg, Lauren if she's attending. And then again, not knowing Vivian's plans, I'm going to have to probably not. I'm going to guess Linda, just because I don't know if Vivian's planning to hit this one yet.
So I don't know like anything about Vivian or Linda's training, but Linda, I saw, made a post about how she didn't feel like she was ready like she was last year.
Okay. She came out hot last year.
What's that?
Like, she came out hot in the early season last year. Yeah. She was ready to rock right out the gate.
And I think Vivian's just getting better and better every year. She's just consistently better. Like, she's just doing it. But like, then, you have Lauren Griffith, Joanna, Zara, Kate, like Camilla.
Yeah. I would.
It's going to be a good race.
It is going to be good. And I mean, especially like, Joanna getting in there and being like just this new player right at the top of the board. So I mean, like you go with the two mainstays of Meg and Lauren, and then that third place can be so many different people. Viola, like, is another one that
Viola
really is always in top fitness. Provided when she's not injured, she's always fit. So I don't know, man. That third spot, I'd have to see the list. I'd have to see who's going, because, and I do tend to lean towards the Europeans, because for close races, if there's nothing else to deal with, it's closer to home, it's easier travel, less chance of jet lag and stuff. So I would lean towards a Linda or a Viola on that one, or Joanna, if she's indeed going.
Well, she's traveling from Australia though. So
yeah, but it's at least it's the time zone is not as bad, is it?
Yeah, it is. Is it? So when we did that interview with Mintra,
oh yeah.
I was 8 hours behind Mintra. Mintra was 8 hours behind JK, and then there was another 8 hours between me and JK. So we're all 1/3 of the world apart.
Yeah, and there's another reason to just stick with Linda or Viola.
Yeah,
they're right there. So yeah, what about you? Who do you got?
Well, I'm gonna pick any of the ladies that I train to take all the podiums, of course. Yes. It would just be great if we had 4 out of the 6 podiums, because that's as many as we could get.
Yeah.
And then JK for the men, of course. Mm-hmm. I think he's ready. He's going to be there. I think Ronkovic, and I actually think Sandy might make it up there too. But I'm really interested. I want to know how the race is going to play out between people like Rylan and Sandy, who have the capability to really push that front race for the men, and pull people along, try to entice people along.
Healthy Rylan, I'd have him up there. But I know what I am. I'm so excited to see him back out there. But I also hope I'm tempering expectations because I know he is still not 100%.
I mean, I like a lot of the guys, but I think personally, I think it'd be really cool to see like JK, Dylan, and Rylan as a top three. But
I'm with you.
I think Ronkovic and Sandy are very hard outs. I don't know what their fitness level it is, but I know it's always high.
I don't think Ronkovic peaks and valleys.
No,
he is what he is.
No, he's
always there,
consistently fit and goes and performs like really well.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's the anti-Sandy, whereas Sandy, you don't know what you're gonna get. Ronkovic, you know every time what you're gonna get.
Like, I think I've only ever seen Ronkovic have like one bad race, and it was, I think he took like, maybe I'm even wrong on this. Maybe he took 4th. I was thinking he took 8th in Chicago one year, or 7th in Chicago. But
was that the year that the Megiddo won?
Yeah, was that the same year?
I think so. I think, and it wasn't. I don't think it was 8th, but it was. Yeah, like Ronkovic like, and he was still there.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. All right, we got one more comment here. How about age group payouts? Age graded Hyrox payouts, just to make things more complicated and fun. Age graded. So I'm gonna
where you
that like your payouts.
Is that Amy Belavacqua, AZ Bev?
I think so. Amy, is that you? You let us know.
Oh. They get time off for the older they are.
Nice. Or they get more money for the older they are because it's more impressive. So if Meg wins,
there you go.
Meg wins, she gets 10 grand, but if Amy wins, she gets 15.
So what is that, like $5 grand over 17 years?
Something like that.
So a couple $100 a year. Hey.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea, Amy. I think they're going to institute it right away. Or younger ages get more money to account for inflation. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to last them longer. Nice. All right. I think we're through our list, aren't we?
I believe we are. So unless we get some more questions here in the next couple seconds, I think, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I do have a couple things to say, just personal notes. This weekend, Pure Impact DECA Fit event. We had miles, we had strongs, we had rucks, and we had a blast. It was awesome. A lot of fun. If you're ever looking for an event, that's great, Pure Impact. And then this coming weekend, we are going to an F45 Hyrox affiliate and doing a half rocks there. And it is in Kitchener-Waterloo area. If there's still some spots open, if you're in our area, Southern Ontario, and you look for something cool to do, jump out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be there. Going to do doubles, maybe relay. Who knows? Yeah, we're going to be all over that. But yeah, lots of fun. Love those venues. And but yeah, this weekend we had a blast. I did some random teams. By the way, also Ram Fit Canada, they helped put on the Pure Impact event. So if you want to ram in Canada, talk to them.
Nice.
We went, and I had one of the members of our community up here, Patty. She comes up to me, and I ran 4 races this weekend. She comes up to me and she's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, 48. And she goes, "Well, that works. You want to go run a strong?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'm in. Let's do it."
Nice.
So just had a blast. We had so much fun. And yeah, it was great. I just good shout out for them. What about you?
I got people preparing. Obviously, we got a lot of people going to getting ready for Amsterdam, getting ready for some other races. Like Kate, she's going to get ready for Stuttgart first and then Amsterdam. And just getting people going. And yeah, I don't have, we ran, my wife obviously ran Spartan Pan American Championships this last weekend in Seattle. She did really well there. She liked the liked the venue, liked the course, took second to Nicole Miracle. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
She did great. She was a couple minutes behind Nicole and like 7 minutes ahead of third or something. So she failed one obstacle and had to take the penalty loop, which apparently the penalty loop, I didn't know this, the penalty loop for Spartan, I thought they were all just like run out and back or something. This penalty loop, you had to carry kettlebells the whole penalty loop, and they had a barbed wire they had to go under and like with the kettlebells and do that.
That was not the original intention of them, but I'm love it. I'm glad. I thought many of these penalty loops were far too easy, and I like that you should be paying a price. If you can't in obstacle racing, if you can't do the obstacles, they're a part of the race. And with Spartan, especially on a bigger, longer course, doing this makes them more of a factor.
Yeah. So I mean, that was interesting. I hadn't heard that before, but otherwise she got all the other obstacles, and it was a grip obstacle that like she had almost made it through it, I guess, but the fat bars at the end were slick. Seattle, of course. Yeah. So slipped off and went and ran it. Still had a lot of fun, and now it's like, all right, now we look to Amsterdam.
Awesome. So TTS Sports here asks your suggestions for or some of our picks anyway for Elite 15 Worlds podiums. I'm not going to go through like who I think will be on the podium, but I'll put in some of my early wagers.
We don't know who's going to be there.
Exactly. So here are some of my early wagers or people I think will be on the podium. Not all of them, just individual. Tara Jackson will be on a podium, one place or another.
Does she get on the podium in all three races? Has she done that back-to-back years?
No, she has not. But yeah, she didn't get on the podium for the strong last year. But I think I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to take it. I'll have Tara on every podium. I will take Tara on every podium.
Does anybody get the trifecta?
No, I don't think so. And again, if I was to bet on anyone to do it, it would be Tara. And I did bet on that the first year, and she missed it by 2 spots. But yeah, so I would put her there. I believe, and I'll put this out there, I think Kevin Gregory will repeat with his strong, despite having even stiffer competition this year. So those would be my 2 big first bets. Tara will get a podium. Tara's going to podium on all 3. Kevin will repeat as strong and get other random relay ones depending on where and who he's racing with. And yeah.
Here's a question. David Magida has had a podium in the first 2 years in one event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does he get one this next year?
And so when he's had one in, what did he have one in? He had one in the fit, and he had one in the
mile.
Mile. So mile. It was mile. So does he get one in the strong this year? I don't even know. Does he have a strong time up?
He does have a strong time up. He's 10th.
Oh, 10th. I love Dave. I really do. I've always been a big fan. He's been so good to me, but I'm going to say no, he does not get one in the strong. If he gets one, it would be on the fit again.
I don't see him having a time up for the mile, though.
Yeah, I could easily
in there for the fit.
I could easily see Magida on the fit podium, especially if the race goes out hot, because he's really good at hanging back and then starting to hunt.
Somebody who's usually listening to this that is on here, Riker, does he's in 4th right now in the leaderboard. Does he get a podium?
Who are the top 4? We got
Dylan, Isaac, Grayson, Riker, Magida. Mark Polveen.
That's hard, man. I don't know. Can Riker do it? Riker can. He absolutely can. But so can those other guys. Isaac is fit, man, that's a tough one. I could see Riker doing again a Magida thing and cleaning up if the race gets out too hot, because he's really changed his ways. Like, he used to be the guy that got caught up in that, and now he's the guy capitalizing on it. Oh, I don't know. I'm not even going to wager yet. I got to think about that. Yeah. All right, man. Let's call her a day.
All right.
Everybody, thank you. And Anthony, this was fun because we never get to do this.
Nope.
And
So
there was no tangent.
You guys are looking for me anywhere, you can look up the Hybrid Engine, or if you want to listen to me and JK, we're on Hybrid Coaching Podcast.
Yeah, and I'm on the OFX podcast with Bethany McChesney, and we are on every week. We have some great guests, but I think this week again it'll just be us. And TT Sports message me. I owe you a patch for sure. Take care, everyone.